Hey, what's up you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you a pretty special and long coming video, and that is ranking my favorite characters of the Buffyverse. We're going to be breaking down show to show before finally giving my overall list of favorite characters within both. First off, we're going to be talking about Buffy the Vampire Slayer. We're going to be talking about specific characters from that series. I am leaving Angel out of the Buffy the Vampire Slayer list. Not that he wasn't an important part of those initial 3 seasons, but he obviously developed a hell of a lot more on his own show, and I just felt like it would be a good idea to give some room to some other show specific characters and talk more about Angel on his own show list, and finally the overall list. So yeah, this is just my opinion. Some of my placings may have you agreeing, others may have you scratching their heads, others being left off might really bother you, but Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel both are 2 of my favorite shows of all time now. I was way late to the bandwagon by a couple of decades or so. Of course, being born in 1996, I couldn't really comprehend anything like that when it started in 97. And I've just watched both shows for the past couple of years. But it doesn't mean it means any less to me. It's done a lot for me, for my mental health, for my just to keep myself going. How I've got invested in this world, it's incredible. Some of the most well-realized, not just in film, not just in TV, but in any medium, some of the most well-realized characters and relationships, and just such great performances too. Really nothing like Buffy or Angel. So like I said, we're going to be starting with the original series, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And before we get into the actual list, these are sort of honorable mentions, sort of ones that you may just wonder about why they're not in my top 10 favorite Buffy the Vampire Slayer characters. And we're going to start that off with Riley Finn, of course played by Mark LeCobb. I can't pronounce names apparently, but Riley Finn. I liked Riley. I actually found him likable in season 4. Of course, not as interesting as Angel, and not as intriguing as the Spike thing eventually was. But I found him likable. I found the actor to be genuinely decent and everything. But apparently fans didn't really respond well to him, so he was eventually written out in season 5. And the direction they took him in that 5th season was a bit, I don't know, it took away from how much I like the character, but to say the least. So yeah, I left him just a bit off of the top 10. And by the way, this is going to be about like a half an hour video. That's what I'm going to aim for anyway. 10 minutes to talk about Buffy the Vampire Slayer or so, and 10 minutes or so to talk about the Angel characters, and then another 10 minutes to talk about the overall ranking. Alright, another one just barely out of the list is Joyce, Buffy's mother, of course, played by Christina Sutherland. I don't know. She gave a good performance. Don't get me wrong, and the body is a very significant episode in any television series. How they portrayed her eventual death. But she had some frustrating perspectives at times. Not only were they typical, but sometimes, Buffy's father is gone, but how much is Joyce actually paying attention? How much is she actually listening to her daughter? I don't know. So really more of a writing problem again, I guess, but still, I wasn't really crazy about her. The first time I watched Buffy, I found her to be the most annoying character. Not quite as much the second or third time through and so on, but still not in my top 10. The next one that people are going to be pretty upset is not in the top 10 is Anya, played by Emma Caulfield. Don't get me wrong, I do like Anya, okay? even the characters not on the list I do like, okay, because Buffy and Angel are both amazing shows, and I do like Anya. I find her funny. I think Emma Caulfield gives a good acting performance. I do think her sort of shtick got a bit old after a few seasons, especially by like season 6 or so. I understand she's a demon. She doesn't understand human customs, or just how you're supposed to behave or act towards people, or different emotional situations and such. And I get that, that's an aspect of character that really carries her, but it got a bit old, and I don't know, it didn't really seem like she learned maybe as much as she could. I'm not sure. And she is pretty much the only main character to die in the final episode, but she didn't quite feel important enough either, which, I'm not dissing it. If you really do like Anya, I understand it, but she just didn't have as much for me as some of the others. Next over, we're talking about Dawn Summers, and again, I know the actors' names, I just don't feel like butchering names if I don't know how to pronounce them. But Michelle, Dawn, again, a character I was really annoyed with the first time through, second, third time, and such. I guess I don't mind her as much. She is very much the angsty teenager, born out of, energy and created and such. It's, I don't know. I do feel like her and Buffy's relationship sort of took up too much concentration in the last 3 seasons or so. But at the same time, they didn't really go anywhere with her after the whole Key storyline in season 5. Just kind of had her have typical issues and everything. I don't know. She did a really nice job acting-wise, though. Again, as they all did. But yeah, definitely not in my top 10. It's done. And here's another one I should probably address. This is a picture from Angel, but Cordelia Chase. Of course, Charisma Carpenter, excellent actress. She did great on both shows. She definitely has her place in the original Buffy series, but I left her off of the Buffy the Vampire Slayer top 10 ranking because she has most of her development on Angel, so I'm just basing it off of her time on Buffy, which is good, but not enough to affect and push her through certain others. Now you'll have to pay attention and see her ranking on Angel once we get to that. But moving right along to the actual top 10 of the Buffy the Vampire Slayer show, starting off number 10 with Wesley Wyndam-Pryce. Yes, and again, another character who received most of his development on Angel. I really do love this character, but just basing it off of his appearances in the Buffy series. Still quite a bit of fun, him being prim and proper and everything like that. Very well off book-wise and everything like that, but he doesn't have really any field experience. He's constantly vested by Giles and everything, but he's still quite fun. I still found him just socially awkward and funny. So he did really bring something to the show in season 3. I'll definitely talk more about this guy once we get to the Angel rankings. But yeah, still, even as it stands, season 3, 4 or whatever, Wesley is still pretty good. Okay, number 10, we're going to be talking about Drusilla. Yes, Drusilla. Spike. Oh, my Spike. Are there any puppies? Babies, things like that. Definitely one of the most unique villains in either series with how she's portrayed and everything. The actress did such a fine job. Only issue with her is that they don't really conclude her story at all. You would think there'd be some kind of a culmination with Spike and everything. There kind of is, but then there isn't. She just flees. Then she appears on Angel in a pretty cool way with Darla, but then she just sort of flees again, and you never see her again in either show. So that kind of takes away from it in a bit. They do give her some really big directions in the comics, from what I understand, which I still have to read all the way through. Kind of hesitating because they have some weird choices made with characters in that, but as it stands, he doesn't really have a conclusion in the shows, which kind of sucks. But nonetheless, she's still really cool to watch on screen. At first, she might seem a bit over the top, but once you get into it, you'll really get a kick out of it whenever she appears. And she is strong, she is brutal. She killed Kendra, which is awesome. I just did not like Kendra's accent, by the way. That's the only real issue I had with Kendra, okay? Still thought it was cool. So, yeah. Number 9 is Drusilla. Number 8 is going to be Tara McClay, played by Amber Benson. Such a good actress. I really did love her on the show. At first, when she's introduced, okay, she's sort of some, minor villain character that's just going to bring Willow into the darkness or whatever, but no, it's one of the greatest relationships of the whole franchise. She felt relatable, her anxiety issues and, her, hurting her speech and everything. Her and Willow's relationship was really sweet and genuine. And, how she's killed off towards the end of season 6 is, incredibly sad. I really do think, I don't know who would have mattered more to Willow. Maybe Xander, or have they brought back Oz and Oz was killed or something? I don't know. But either way, I think they should have found a way to bring her back or something. Even though we see what happened to Buffy when she is pulled out of what we found out was heaven, and we know Tara probably certainly would be there as well. So maybe it was for the best, but I don't know. And just what they did to the whole Willow and Tara thing in season 7, just introducing Kennedy, it felt very linear in comparison. But I'll always have a heart for Tara. I thought she was a really, really nice part of the show. Number 7, I believe, is Xander Harris, played by Nicholas Brendon. Perhaps contributes more to the show earlier on. He's sort of the first real comedic relief besides Buffy's wit and everything like that. He's not incredibly strong or anything, doesn't have any powers, but he has loyalty and he still tries. He throws himself into shit all the time and gets his ass kicked, but he always tries to help his friends. He definitely has issues of his own, don't get me wrong. And some of the stances of him, berating or laying into Buffy about things later in the series really do irritate me. But again, that's more of a writing thing. I thought Nicholas Brendon, despite the guy's personal issues, which I'm not going to comment on because, I just hope, he's doing better for himself and everything. It seems like he is, but Nicholas Brendon still did a really nice job as Xander, and what he does for Willow to pull her back from the brink of the whole Dark Willow thing at the end of season 6 is incredible. The whole "you're not special, you're extraordinary" exchange with Dawn. And how he does stand up for Buffy in season 7 is actually really nice, to the other Slayers and such. So Xander really does have his place on the show. 1 or 2 eyes either way. Alright, and number 6 is going to be Oz, played by Seth Green. Another character I would love to have seen again on either show. I actually think Oz joining Angel would have really fit with that cast. But yeah, this video is going to go longer than 30 minutes. I hope you guys are starting to realize that. I just love talking about these characters. But yeah, anyway, I think it would have been a really good fit on Angel or something, or if they even just, like I said, brought him back on Buffy. I know Seth Green apparently just wanted to work on other things, but it's odd that they never brought him back again. He should have at least shown up after Tara died to comfort Willow or something. I don't know. I understand they give some resolution to Oz in the comics, but again, why didn't they do it in the show? I mean, Angel is canceled, but Buffy actually ended, so why didn't they do that before Buffy ended? I don't know. But yeah, I really liked Oz. Seth Green felt really relatable in his performance. He felt, normal and sort of, cool and down to earth and everything like that. He didn't really have a lot of kinks except when the werewolf thing took over and the whole thing with the female and such. But I did like, as much as I love Willow and Tara's relationship, part of me still feels like I want to go back to Willow and Oz, They're very good together, Allison Hannigan and Seth Green. So yeah, loved Oz. And going into the top 5 of Buffy, and that is, speaking of Willow, Allison Hannigan as Willow Rosenberg. Very, very key character in Buffy and the whole Buffyverse in general. It's great to see her witch powers develop. She goes from geek to witch to Dark Willow, and all the way back again. Really kind of one of the better arcs in the series. Allison Hannigan, probably one of the best actresses on either show too. Actresses or actors. She just really knows how to emote. She can be funny. I love her the voice she uses as Willow. It's different from her actual voice if you listen to her. Willow, just such a great character. You wouldn't have Buffy the Vampire Slayer without Willow. And number 4, speaking of probably not having Buffy the Vampire Slayer without, you wouldn't have it without Spike either. Spike, William the Bloody, played by James Marsters. Kind of blew up the fandom and still does. Also has one of the greatest developments of the whole show as well. His arc from season 2 as a pretty cool villain alongside just Drusilla, to him slowly developing and starting to care for Buffy, at least especially. Even though he apparently doesn't have a soul, that was really fascinating stuff. Even the dark, really conflicting nature of season 6, I thought was still incredible. And of course, his whole arc, going into season 7 and his appearance in Angel and everything, really, really, really well handled. Joss Whedon did not plan on it. James Marsters even said in a podcast with Michael Rosenbaum recently that Joss Whedon was basically upset that Spike got so popular because it wasn't his original plans. But you couldn't have the show without Spike. Pretty much all these characters you couldn't have without, but Buffy probably wouldn't be as popular if it wasn't for Spike. I know that. I may actually personally prefer Angel himself. But, I recognize Spike's contributions to it as well. And again, I don't have Angel on this list, not because he wasn't important to the first 3 or so seasons of the show, but because he receives, almost all of his real development on his own show, and I just want to make room for other characters to talk about, But you'll hear about Angel once we get to the Angel TV rankings, and then finally the overall Buffyverse rankings. So yeah, Spike is number 4. And at number 3, top 3 now, is Rupert Giles, played by Anthony Head. Oh, man. I absolutely love Giles. The show would not be as strong as it is without him. The whole, Ripper side of him that it alludes to. It's also one of the weaknesses, though. It kind of always bugged me that we never really found out what was all in his past. Why was he named Ripper? What dark things did he do? Why is he so creepy and badass when he takes off his glasses and kills Ben and such? And I would have liked that side to him actually explored and explained more. I get the ambiguity of it is pretty intriguing too, but I would have liked a little bit more detail. But still, nonetheless, Giles, the father figure to Buffy that she doesn't really have anymore. I absolutely love Buffy and Giles' relationship. It's incredible. Season 3, episode 12, I think it is, with Buffy being put to that Watcher's test of, her powers being, taken away for a bit temporarily. Giles, cleaning her cuts and her wounds after that, and, Quentin saying, you have a father's love for the child, and that is useless to the cause. And just the look he and Buffy share when it's said that he has a father's love for her. It's absolutely... so pulls on your heartstrings. Just fascinating. That's still one of my favorite scenes of the entire Buffyverse. So, and again, he's just that mentor figure too. He's all-knowing. Sometimes, just a very guiding hand, not just for the characters in the show, but just for the structure and style of the show in general. So yeah, number 3 is definitely Rupert Giles, played by Anthony Head. He's also great in Merlin too, and pretty much anything else he does. So check out his other work. And yes, he sings too. That'll be fascinating if you look into that. Alright, and number 2, my top 2 favorite characters of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Number 2 is Faith Liane. Yes, Faith, played by Eliza Dushku. Man, oh man. What can I say about Faith here? Maybe my favorite, sort of character arc and development of the entire Buffyverse. I'm not sure. It could very well be. Eliza Dushku is great, from the whole Faith and Mayor thing in season 3 to, her crossovers on Angel, which we'll talk about again later as well, and just how awesome those episodes were on that show. She's just like a fun, foil to, Buffy's personality basically in season 3, and the conflicting nature of the Mayor, her going to jail and everything, turning herself in. Again, we'll talk more about the Angel episode she was in a little bit later, but then of course she finally returns to Buffy in season 7, and helps in the final fight against the first evil and everything. And the whole handoff Buffy has with the axe to Faith, and they fight together, and everything is such an amazing climactic moment, and their understanding with each other and everything, and how much she cares for Buffy deep down, has love for her honestly, and really is fighting so much darkness inside of her, and she comes out of it. I just think it was just one of the most incredible stories of the show. And I just been so gripped by Faith. She's going to have a spinoff at one point, apparently, but Eliza Dushku wanted to do True Calling and some other things, apparently. Sometimes I wonder if there are more behind-the-scenes issues with it or something, but if there had been a Faith spinoff, I just want to say that that might have actually made her my favorite character at that point, if she got that much more time, focused on her. But as it stands, she's still one of my 2 favorite characters. And it's number 1. You may have guessed it. My favorite character of Buffy the Vampire Slayer is Buffy Summers. Yes, Sarah Michelle Gellar. Such an icon of TV and just, female empowerment. And just, not even just for females, but she's inspired me too. Such a well-fleshed out character that deserves all of the notoriety. She's felt power. She's felt powerful. She's felt relatable and real. At the end of season 1, telling Giles she's 16 years old, she doesn't want to die. Sarah Michelle Gellar's performance in The Body, and just throughout the entire series, just so emotive. Her wit, her her usage of comedy, and how she handles that, and then just pulls back down with an anchor of wave after wave of emotion. How she does handle herself alongside the stunt double. It still looks really good for her part. Definitely one of the greatest characters in television history, and obviously my favorite character of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Again, I'm so sorry I'm late to this party, but Buffy is incredible. Buffy Ann Summers, I can't say enough about her. That has already been said a million times, but she is everything. Buffy is number 1. Alright, and then we're going to go over the Angel characters as well. And kicking it off with sort of addressing just some characters you might wonder why they're not on the list and everything. And, yeah, by the way, when you get to the Buffyverse ranking overall, we'll probably speed it up a little bit just because I've talked about most of them already at that point. But yeah, we're going to get into the Angel-specific characters now before we go into that. And honorable mention is Lorne. The actor unfortunately did pass away, along with another we'll be talking about soon as well. But Lorne, he really brought some life to the show. Sometimes I feel like they didn't need the comedy in every episode, but I still think he was a good sort of main addition to it eventually. Just really likable, and I liked his power of being able to sense, mindsets people were in, and helping out, figure out their path and everything. So Lorne, Charles Gunn. I do like Gunn, don't get me wrong. But yeah, it was the last season or 2. I didn't really care for the direction they took him in. It was just sort of meh for me. The whole thing with the lawyer thing, I didn't really think was that great. But still, I like his introduction to the show, and I think he breaks up the team nicely. Yeah, Gunn. And then kicking it off with the, let's see. I feel like I'm missing something here, but I don't know. Let me see a second. Alright, maybe not. Alright, so number 10 is going to be Doyle. Yes, this is the other actor that unfortunately passed away due to apparent drug issues, but nonetheless, he is still an important part of the show for the first 9 or so episodes, and he still had long-term effects of the characters going forward. His Irish accent and everything made him sort of a comic relief, but he had heart as well, and a very specific arc to play out that really did wonders, and I think affected the show in the way it was intended. So yes, number 10 is definitely Doyle. He has his place. Number 9, we're back to her, is Cordelia Chase, Charisma Carpenter. Beautiful and really pretty nice natural development from Buffy to Angel. I didn't have her on the Buffy list, but that's only because she received, pretty much 90% of her development on Angel. Still has her issues, with being a bit nose up, sometimes, but she does really come back down to earth nicely. And her realization of, what she wants her purpose to be, and, for the greater good and everything, I think is great. Yeah, they did really damage the character with the whole Connor thing. Season 3 going into Season 4 especially. And, her being basically Jasmine throughout Season 4 before being put into a coma and then dying. She has a pretty great character payoff, and you're welcome, though, in Season 5, even though that was supposed to be Buffy originally, and you can kind of tell. I don't really love the Cordelia and Angel relationship. Well acted, but I just felt like they had more of like a sibling type of bond, which could have been great too. But for me, the romantic feelings just kind of came out of nowhere. But that's not to take away from Cordelia's individual development. I do think she was great for what she was on the show, and I think it's a shame that she wasn't just actively in the entire series. And again, Charisma Carpenter did a really nice job. And number 8 is going to be Spike. Yes, he's appearing here as well. He's a little bit lower than he was on the Buffy list, though, and that's only because he was only in it for a season, the last season. Had Angel gone on for, I think, the planned 7 seasons instead of 5, or even another season, we would have seen Spike on it more, and he would have been more, just would have spent more time on the show, and that probably would have pushed him a bit further. But it's still great to see Spike on the show in Season 5, and he was important to Season 5. He was mentored with Angel and everything, his history with Angelus. I've already talked about him plenty. You know who Spike is. I think this is 7. Yep. 7 is going to be Kate Lockley, yes. Some people may wonder why I have her on the top 10 list, but I thought she was actually one of the best actors on the show, honestly. Elizabeth Rom. The actress had to leave because she had a role on Law and Order or something like that. They couldn't make the scheduling work. I think it's a damn shame, because I think her and Angel could have actually ended up having a really special relationship. Yes, I think a romantic one would have worked. They definitely had issues, and she got a bit frustrating in the last season she was in, Season 2 and everything. But it did end nicely with Angel, pulling her out of her drug issues and such. And then the whole idea, okay, Angel wasn't invited in, but he was still allowed in to save her. Isn't that like a bigger picture sort of thing? So yeah, I think there's definitely more story to tell between her and Angel. She does reappear in the comics, so I understand in a pretty decent way. But nonetheless, it's a shame we didn't get to see her throughout the entire series, because I thought Kate was pretty great. And yes, that rhymed. Number 6 is going to be Lila Morgan. Yep. I thought Lila was a really nice character. She was in it from Season 1, one of our most recurring antagonists. But then she slowly, little by little, starts changing. I love her relationship with Wesley, actually. She's honest about what kind of person she is. But she looks out for herself, but then she cares about Wesley a lot more than she ever let on. And that's only really addressed in a very tragic way when she is unfortunately killed, and Wesley has to put her down. But still a really fundamental character for the show, I think, and the actress did a really excellent job. And sorry that I'm speeding up a bit, but I don't want this video to be an hour. Number 5, we're going to be kicking off the top 5 with Darla. Yes, Darla, played by Julie Benz. I just thought her development was really nice, and the payoff with Season 3's Lullaby and everything, her sacrificing herself just to, make sure Connor could live and everything like that and actually be something. Even though you could argue that it was, Connor's soul that was making her, feel, in her last arc and everything. It still, nonetheless, I thought brought things out of her. And it was really fascinating to watch. Julie Benz did a really nice job with the emotion of it all. And even from the villainous side, she is one of the greatest at that, too. Her history with Angel, too. And she was just a lot of fun to watch and very gripping in her last story. And they knew where to end it, too. They didn't, force her to come back another time or anything. And they kept it where it was. And I admired that. Right. And number 4 is going to be Fred. Winifred Burkle and Illyria. Yes, I'm putting them in the same place, and that is sort of cheating because they are technically 2 different characters. But they're both Amy Acker. And they go hand in hand, and you can't really have one without the other, so I'm cheating and putting them together. Fred, really awesome. I loved her introduction to the show in season 3. She's actually pretty high for me in the overall Buffyverse rankings as well. Just her comedy, her anxiety issues coming back to our world and everything. Just how incredibly smart she is, how compassionate she is. She's really one of the tethers for the whole team, really. I love her building relationship with Wesley. The thing with Gunn was fine, but I love the long-term arc for her and Wesley. Very heartbreaking, supposed end to her in season 5. Only for Illyria to re-emerge in Fred's body. And Amy Acker just did such an awesome job as Illyria in a way you wouldn't really think. But she blew it out of the water. And then Illyria's following development and everything like that, and starting to connect more with, being a part of this world, and she ends up caring for Wesley as well, and, helping the others, and just powerful, really impactful stuff. And, she's definitely one of those characters. Both are characters you wouldn't really, they wouldn't really, the show wouldn't be what it is without him, is what I'm saying. Alright. And then number 3, here we go with Faith Liane again. And yes, I know she's technically more of a guest on Angel and a character on Buffy, but I'm putting her on here still, again, because she received, I think, a good chunk of her development and, sort of her gears turning on Angel. I loved her story in season 1 of Angel, the whole alley scene and everything, too, Angel helping her. Then, of course, when she's let out of jail in season 3 by Wesley to help get, restore Angel and everything like that, and her fight with the Beast and everything like that. I thought it was a really nice payoff. So again, I think she has a place on Angel's list just because of how awesome her Angel episodes were, and actually received a very, very key portion of her, her character arc on Angel. And number 2, if I can find the right photo, which I swear I had at one point. Sorry about this, guys. Just let me see if I can find it really quick. I guess not. Okay, this is a bit annoying. Okay, basically we're going to be talking about Wesley again. Yes, Wesley, Alex Denisof. I had a really nice picture showing the contrast of how his character looks in Buffy compared to Angel. But I think Wesley in the center of this image there, which I did not create. I know I did not create it. But he, I think, has arguably the best character development of any, honestly. Going from how he was in season 3 of Buffy I already talked about, to him getting a grip of himself and to becoming one of the smartest characters of either show. What he goes through trauma-wise and the darker side of himself and everything. It's just a really fascinating journey to watch. And so much so that I became my second favorite character of all of Angel, and you'll see one of my favorite characters of the Buffyverse. So yeah, could not have my love for it without Wesley. And I think one of the best actors as well. And yes, number 1 is going to be Angel. Shocker, shocker. David was fine on Buffy and everything. It definitely had its place for the early stories of Buffy in the first 3 seasons. But when they started the Angel show, Angel became something so much more. to the point where at times I've felt like I've liked Angel more than Buffy. How they separate them, and him finding his purpose, the savior, the chosen one, not the chosen one. What am I saying? The champion and everything like that. You could say Angel still has his own issues, but the effect Doyle has on him, how he tries to help Faith when no one else will. Even the Connor thing was all right. But Angel is such an awesome character. I love seeing him fight. Probably the best fighter on the entire Buffyverse, besides maybe Buffy herself. His presence, how David ended up handling the comedy of it as well. I thought it was really nice. You really see an organic development for Angel and him sort of coming back to life in a certain way. And the darker sides to himself, even when he's not Angelus. Is really fascinating, introspective, honestly. And my number one favorite character on Angel is Angel. And let me get a drink, guys. Alright, and now the overall Buffyverse rankings. Here we go in just a second, boys. Alright, and like I said, I've already talked about every character on this overall ranking already. And this is both shows, both Buffy and Angel series together, my overall favorite characters from either show ranked. And again, I'm not going to be talking about very long just because I've already, went off about all of them. But here we go anyway. My number 10 favorite character in the whole Buffyverse, as of now anyway, is going to be Darla, Julie Benz. My number 9 favorite character in all of the Buffyverse is going to be Oz, Seth Green. Yeah, he was that awesome. My number 8 favorite character in all of the Buffyverse is going to be Willow Rosenberg. Could not have it without her. Or any of them, but my number 7 is going to be Spike. Yep, Spike again. My overall 7th favorite character in the Buffyverse. My number 6 favorite character in the whole Buffyverse is back to Fred and Ilaria together. I swear, I could probably put her higher too. She could probably go higher. When I rewatch it again, she very well could. I can honestly see her being in the top 5 of my favorite Buffyverse characters eventually. But she's very important and just brings so much liveliness, whether it's Fred or Illyria. And number 5 is going to be Wesley Wyndham-Pryce. And again, I wish I had that image I swore I saved of him to use on this, but here's Season 3 Wesley again. But again, how they develop Wesley on the Angel series is, I think, arguably the best of any character. So number 5 is Wesley. Number 4 is Rupert Giles. Couldn't have it without him as a foundation for really what made me love the world. Number 3, yes, we're bringing it back. We're bringing it back to Faith Liane. Really one of the most fascinating character arcs of the whole show, of either show. Together, just whenever she was in an episode, it was awesome. Great character payoff. Number 2 is again going to be Angel. Just such an incredible character. Again, at times I feel like putting him over Buffy. Not quite, but there are times. Just love every facet of that character. And you guessed it, number 1 is still going to be Buffy Summers. Yes. One of the greatest characters in any medium ever, I think. TV, film, books, anything. Her impact on pop culture is completely deserved and at the same time still overlooked. Buffy is just amazing. Just, again, every part of who she is. I think it's just so well realized. And could not have without Sarah Michelle Gellar. She just knocks it out of the park. So, those are my overall favorite characters on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, on the Angel TV series, and the Buffyverse overall. Let me know yours, break them up into the 2 shows, and then give me your overall for both together. Let's just have a good discussion here. And hey, it didn't go too far over half an hour, just about 40 minutes, so I'm happy with that. Thank you if you stuck around. If not, I understand. But yeah, we're never gonna have any shows like this again. Could very well be my 2 favorite shows ever at this point, if it wasn't for Sam Witwer and that damn Being Human series. But overall, it may be Buffy and Angel at this point, if I'm being honest, overall show-wise. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.